I want to preface everything I say in this video with this one statement. Even though I am about to give the highest praise to a manga that heavily relies on Sentai or Power Ranger themes, I've never actually been a Sentai guy. I know, who cares? But I wanted to put that out there so no one gets the wrong idea and thinks he just loves Power Rangers, of course he's gonna say it's good, when that's certainly not the case. With that out of the way, today we're talking about a manga called Ranger Reject, or Go-Go Loser Ranger, if you would like to use the official name, by Negi Haruba. Now I've been following this manga since the day it came out, and to be quite honest, I was actually fully prepared to love it before it came out when I first saw the initial promotional material for it. I had a feeling in my gut that it would be greatness, and boy was I right. Every single week this manga has had me in a headlock, an arm bar, the crippler crossface, the figure 4 leg lock, you name it. In a world filled with great manga to read like One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Sakamoto Days, even though I love all of them too, nothing has quite had the hold on me that Ranger does. Set in a world where Power Rangers exist, the story takes place 13 years after invaders from outer space came to our world and started a war. The thing about this war is that it was won pretty easily by the Ranger side about 12 years ago, and then since then the Rangers have kept up the facade that the war was still ongoing by allowing the lowest rank of invader minions to exist in their fortress. The Rangers tell everyone that the threat is still serious and that the invaders won't leave, but the truth is that the good guys won't allow them to leave and keep them around to beat them up and make themselves look good for show. The reason this works is because the minions that are referred to as foot soldiers are very weak and actually immortal, or at least mostly immortal. They have very fragile bodies and are able to shapeshift into anything assuming they can visualize it, and when they take damage, their bodies break apart and they float back up to their fortress in the sky that has been chained down to the ground to prevent them from ever leaving. The foot soldiers are exactly that, unnamed grunts that eventually named themselves with just letters, and they were created by more powerful invaders called executives, who they're told have all been wiped out by the Rangers, and they're allowed to keep living as long as they keep coming up with interesting ways to entertain the crowd to make the Rangers look good at the end of every week when a Sunday battle is held. These battles are used as entertainment, and they sell tickets and make a show out of it to help the Rangers sell merchandise and make TV shows and movies that further push the Ranger agenda and plant the seed into the minds of the masses that the world is still in danger while they line their pockets and gain political and military power. By now, you're probably wondering about the main character and thinking, okay, so which Ranger is he? And I'll tell you, he's not a Ranger at all. You see, the main character is one of the quote-unquote bad guys from the Sky Fortress, a foot soldier who is tired of faking the funk and keeping up the ruse that the Rangers are these great guys and thinks, for once, maybe the invaders should win. This is great and all except for one thing. I said the invaders were mostly immortal. You see, under normal circumstances, their bodies break down and turn to dust and then reform at the home base, sort of like a respawn system in a video game. But the Rangers in this universe, also known as the Divine Dragon Keepers, wield powerful weapons called the Divine Dragon Tools, which take on many shapes and forms. Normally, the Rangers use standard issue weapons to fake kill the invaders. Whenever an invader steps out of line, though, they are threatened with absolute death by these artifacts of unknown origins capable of killing immortals, and with this, they keep the foot soldiers in line and under their foot with a smile. The main character, though, Foot Soldier D, manages to break free from this cycle. One day after losing a battle, he quickly sneaks off and disguises himself as a human and begins his plan to kill all of the Dragon Keepers who have oppressed him and his people, making fools of them for the last 13 years. This, of course, involves him planning to join the Rangers as a cadet in hopes to raise up the ranks so that he can get close enough to assassinate the Rangers and destroy them from the inside. You'll shortly see that behind closed doors, most of the Rangers are complete maniacs and incredibly strong, so this task of taking them down will actually be very difficult for him. Luckily though, D is quickly met by other human characters with pretty shaky morals and personalities that don't exactly fit the norm. And for one or another reason, both of these people wish to also bring down the Rangers. One of these people is Suzukiri, an extremely shady girl who doesn't let go of information easily. She's someone who has been seen as mysterious for pretty much her entire time in the story, and wants to help D kill the Rangers if he can assist her with her goal, and the other is Sakurama, a bright-eyed boy who thinks that what the Rangers are doing is wrong and for some reason doesn't drink the Kool-Aid everyone else does, and so he doesn't think that every invader is evil. Both new characters want to help and use D to bring a future that they envision into reality, and D takes every opportunity he can to get closer to his revenge. It's an underdog story where the character that we follow the most is seen as an evildoer and someone that should either be killed on sight or forced to fall in line, and even the children cheer for their deaths when the foot soldiers soldiers are killed. There are even some characters who, if they found out his true identity, wouldn't hesitate to exploit his existence and his situation to push their own agenda forward. It's a pretty sickening experience, and D being someone who has only known battle, death, and mockery in life is not so good with other humans. So we follow him on his path to revenge with nothing but his immortal yet fragile body, his ability to disguise himself, and his pride as an invader to push forward towards his goal. I won't spoil any major events from the story, but I'll say it is one where you're really rewarded for paying attention when you read, because it has a lot of small details or moments where other authors might hand wave or forget to do something that ends up kind of creating plot holes, but this author always manages to wrap things up nicely. As you'll read, you'll notice a lot of fun and interesting foreshadowing, and this manga has a lot of small blink and you'll miss it moments. Like in the middle of a fight later, one character uses a remote control tool that they use to pause, slow, or fast forward someone else's movements, and there's a very small moment where on a very tiny panel they're seen using the remote's mute function to silence another character's movements so that they can get away undetected. It's something very easy to miss when reading, and I hope the eventual anime adaptation of this scene does a great job of showing this in action. There are many other characters besides the initial two and the rangers that D is introduced to, and all of them have their own strong senses of justice and reasons for wanting to become rangers. Like I said before, D isn't good with other humans since he's never actually gotten to interact with them, and so there's moments where a character might be breaking down to him and giving him their backstory, and the scene will change to a sort of flashback, you know how it usually goes, and then actually D interrupts them saying, "Hey man, nobody cares," and it just cuts the backstory in half, it's gone. There's another time when someone is trying to tell him about a laptop that they left behind for him that had a lot of information on some of the other cadets he would encounter, and since he didn't actually pay any attention to that, he smashes the laptop when its alarm wakes him up one morning, not realizing it had vital information on it to help him survive day to day. Being a hothead, D's own actions and personality often get him into trouble and very close to experiencing his true and final death. In a way, the story works as a deconstruction, taking tropes that you're used to and spinning them on their heads, and we really get to see how corrupt the world is through this foot soldier's eyes. Like I said, I won't spoil major plot points, but I will say that there are things like human experimentation, and children are sometimes grabbed up off the streets and trained to become soldiers at a young age. And there's also a shadow organization that comes and erases people when they get too close to the truth that lies deep, deep below the bright and sunny illusion that the good guys try to paint. Friends become enemies, and enemies might sometimes become friends, and you never truly know who knows what and who D can trust, as little by little, D begins to learn more and more of the truth that was hidden from him and the world. I know I may have painted this as a dark and sort of mysterious manga, and while it is an action shonen, it does have deep and dark secrets beneath its sometimes goofy looking surface. It's very well written, and it's insane to know that the author's previous work was Quintessential Quintuplets, a comedy romance manga that he used to make a name for himself. There's a rumor that I heard that he always wanted to make this Ranger story, and the magazine told him to give them a rom-com first. I don't know how true it is, but when you look at the writing in Ranger Reject, you can tell with every passing chapter that he is writing with intent. He's writing the story he was always meant to be writing, and when you look at all those things, you can see why I say that this is the best new ongoing manga. I said before that this one has had me in a chokehold, and I think it'll do the same for you. I know they say there's something for everybody, and this could very well just be my something, but I genuinely believe if you give this manga a fair shot, it will become one of your top 3 to 5 weekly reads. I will say that I know some people that have dropped the manga, and if you watch this video and decide to go read it right after, do yourself a favor and please read the first 6 chapters in your first sitting at least. I know some people take the first 1 to 3 chapters for their initial first impressions, but I'm asking you to at least give it about 6. People are usually locked in from there, and the other milestone or hurdle I've seen people hit is from about 15 to 24 or so. Anyone I've ever spoken to has either dropped it before 6, between 15 and 24, or they've read beyond that point and they see the light that Negi Haruba is blessing us with. Also, just because I said I know people have dropped it, I don't want you to take that as me kind of being shaky on the recommendation. I'm sure you can think of somebody who probably dropped your favorite manga too, and maybe they came back to it later and realized that, hey, they really do like it. I think that you will love this story, and it also has an anime coming soon. The trailer and promo images for that are looking incredible. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. If you want to talk to me about Ranger Reject personally, feel free to comment below or reach out to me on Twitter at YatoPlays. I'm always looking for more Ranger Bros to gush about this series with. If there's anything else you guys want to hear about, be sure to let me know that too, and I'll be trying to squeeze more Ranger content onto the channel from here on out. So I hope to grab a few new and older Ranger Bros with this one. Check the community community tab a few days after. I'll post my favorite comment there as comments of the week too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.